start your day. Fabulously flawed, we're lighting the way. Monday to Friday, new episodes with laughter and love. Let's start the show. We're shaking things up. Don't let anyone dull your sparkle. Motivation, inspiration, and fun. Fabulously flawed, everyone. So shine a little brighter. Grab your smile and sing along. The show's about to start with Marni, your host. You can't go wrong.
Fabulously flawed friends. Welcome to Fabulously Flawed. I am your host, Marni, and it's Tuesday, where I love to give Tuesday's tips and remind everybody you are so not alone. I have been there, done that. I have been to rock bottom's hell and back, and I am here as a survivor. And I love sharing everything that I do, that I've learned, that I've gone through to remind you all it's okay not to be okay, that there's no such thing as perfectionism. That's why we're fabulously flawed here, because of course we're flawed. We're human, but we're still fabulous. So guys, stop striving for perfectionism, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. But on today's episode, I want to call it Time to Take Accountability. We know Taylor Swift, Queen, said it herself. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I never did that. I blamed everyone. Everything was at fault other than myself. It was my husband. It was my childhood. It was my mother. It was no father. It was just, I blamed everything. And I lived in a world of denialism. And I think there are millions of people who are walking around in denialism and they don't want to take that accountability. But if you don't take accountability and be aware of what's going on within, you will never be able to heal and grow. And I know you don't want to walk around feeling crappy all the time. Look, I get it. Our trauma explains it, but it doesn't excuse it. And that's something that I had to learn because some of us have experienced probably the worst of humanity at times. And you have two choices. You could become better or you can become bitter. I was bitter and I decided I don't like how this tastes, no pun intended. And I decided my broken was going to become my beautiful. I turned my tragic into magic and I started healing. And I realized that, I didn't need closure from people to say, well, maybe if they apologize, maybe if this happens, maybe if someone says this to me, that wasn't going to work. It had to come from within. And I have to tell you, it was the most eye-opening thing it was this aha moment when I realized, wait, a lot of these behaviors I'm walking around with are really unhealed trauma and mental health disorders I didn't realize I had. So my whole personality has been a trauma response, which it was. My dysregulated nervous system, like, I don't know if I'm being chased by a bear or answering a phone. I mean, it's really fucked up the way my brain works. But in my healing, I had to implement and I use some of the 5 C's with myself. And I probably haven't done an episode on that because there's no day of the week with C. And I like to start my episode titles with the letter of the day of the week, but it's getting harder. So I'm just going to just start changing it up a little bit. See now, this is like kind of hard for me because I love saying like Tuesday's tips, we're talking toxicity. So it has that theme of the sound of the day of the week. And I love that. But now I have to change it because I'm adding stress to myself that I don't need, trying to find the perfect titles. And I have to change it. But I know it's not going to change the direction of my podcast. It might even make my introductions even clearer. But the 5 C's is that we need to do for ourselves. And first and foremost, when you take accountability, when you realize the awareness that it's me, I am the problem, it's me, have compassion for yourself. Be kind to yourself, because if you would have known better, you would have done better. If I would have known that I didn't understand that every time I had an argument with my husband when we were first together and I went batshit crazy and he would drive off and turn his phone off and I couldn't get in touch with him, I went even more batshit crazy. And it would have been easy to say, hey, baby, would you mind not turning off your phone? Because it's a trigger for me from when I had to watch, my mother and her crack boyfriend drive away and with all my belongings and abandon me at 17. Like it explains so much. So if I would have known better, or if you would have known better, you would have done better. So don't beat yourself up on coulda, woulda, shoulda, because the past is gone. We cannot get the past back. I repeat this all the time. If we could push rewind and go back, that would be great. If life was a dress rehearsal, mine would be a 5-star show because I would have so much practice, but it's not. So I can only live the life and where I am right now with the mentality I have right now and who I was and who I am and who I'm becoming. We're all 3 different people, and I have to be compassionate towards all of them. So that's just one of the C's. And in healing, connection. I used to surround myself because I thought I had to when I lived in people-pleasingville. If my husband wanted to go somewhere and I didn't want to, I did it because I didn't want him to be upset with me without knowing how to properly articulate, I'm not really feeling up to socializing. I really don't enjoy these people or whatever. You don't even have to give these excuses. I'm not saying to be a bitch, but it just could be, I don't feel like going. And it's the connection that I started to realize that I'm not going to people please and be around people who are not kind to me, but I'm only going to surround myself around people who make me feel good and who I feel happy around and who brings out the best in me and not the stressed in me, and made connections with those people. My whole life, in one way or another, by being completely authentic and true to myself and finding the connection when I worked in casting with TR, which was the best job in the world, working with your gay best friend who became my best friend by working together, auditioning people for the best friggin' commercials in Miami and having the best headshot photographer, Paul, with me we all worked together in the same office, and the laughter. I mean, it was just, I wasn't your typical 27, 28-year-old or just, having a baby, this normal, typical life, which there's no such thing as normal, but I stayed true to myself and I found the most fabulous people and the most amazing life because that's who I felt amazing around. And my life was such a shithole at the time. I watched my car get repoed and I was like, okay, let me go back now to the, I don't know, what commercial, the tennis ball SAG National commercial I was doing. Okay. So when I loved where I was, it took away a lot of the stress in my other life and coping, healthy coping skills. My coping skills were not normal. They were horrible. I know that's why I got chronic lymphocytic leukemia. I did not know how to cope. I internalized certain things. And then one day I erupted because I didn't know how to properly handle situations as they came in. I was either told you have to bite your tongue, you can't say this, whether it was with family members. I was told, literally, I looked at going, zh, they looked at me, my aunt, and said, zip it, do not talk. So I've always had to suppress emotions, and I just became used to that. And suppressing will only turn your body into a toxic walking disaster. So my coping mechanisms now are handling stress the proper way, waiting a few minutes, waiting, a half hour, letting myself calm down before that initial reaction to tell someone to go fuck themselves and block and, or going outside for the walk, turning off my phone, crying, taking a shower, going to lay down, whatever it is. I don't allow myself to freak the fuck out anymore and become a tsunami of emotions rather than just the little drizzle rain I should be. Oh, I like that one. And confidence. Okay, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. I can tell you this from experience. And one of my favorite C's is the confidence, because when I was at here's just one example. Well, I have gone into 3 Barnes and Nobles and asked for, I said, I know you're going to love my book. Here is my story. And I got a call a few days later, one on the spot for book signings. And then I was at the NIH, National Institute of Health, Dr. Fauci, NIH, and my son is there for a clinical trial, and in their hospital and at the institute downstairs is a coffee shop, bookstore, tons of books and like magnets and gift cards and mugs, that kind of memorabilia. And I said, well, they have books here. So I went in when I was there back in 22, and I said, hey, where's the manager? And they said, he's off today, but he'll be in tomorrow. I said, okay, I'm here for a few days. Here's my book. I know that it is something people would love to read because my life is so jaw-dropping, unimaginable. And he's like, cool. So I came back the next day, spoke to the manager, and he showed me my book was in the friggin' window display of NIH bookstore next to the Dr. Fauci bobblehead. Now, I believed so much in my book that I know people read it and they're like, how are you alive? Which you can find on Amazon, true to myself. But I didn't wait for someone to come to me. I opened that opportunity. I created that door. And now my book is sitting in the friggin' NIH display window. How cool. Because I believed in myself. I don't care if anyone else believed in me, and many, many didn't or don't, and it doesn't matter because they're not me. So being confident with yourself doesn't mean you're better than anyone. It means you believe in yourself and you have enough capability and understanding to know that you're not walking in this world trying to be liked. You are walking in this world to be yourself. And by being myself, look at that opportunity right there. So on this note, I'm going to leave it, guys. And like I said, you could find my book on Amazon, True to Myself, or my website, fabulouslyflawed.com. And you can book that 10-minute free consult with me to see if you want me to be a one-on-one empowerment coach for you. I love doing speaking engagements. I just did a girls' night and spoke to them. And remember, to never let anyone burst your bubble, and to never, ever, 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 ever let anyone dull your sparkle. I am sending so much love and so much peace.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Fabulously Flawed. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, we're so glad you're here, and we hope you'll come back Monday through Friday for another serving of empowerment, motivation, and inspiration. We'll catch you next time on Fabulously Flawed.